Following a conversation with China's Xi, Ukraine's Zelensky appeared optimistic. On Wednesday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky disclosed that he and Chinese leader Xi Jinping had a long and meaningful telephonic conversation. This was the first known interaction between the two leaders since the invasion of Ukraine by Russia over a year ago. Beijing also appointed a representative to explore a political settlement with Ukraine. The conversation, lasting almost an hour, occurred 8 weeks after Beijing expressed interest in serving as a mediator and a month after President Xi's visit to Moscow. The timing of the call is significant given that Ukraine is presently preparing for a counter-offensive in the spring. It's worth noting that Beijing has traditionally been aligned with Russia. Zelensky received the call with optimism, as it presented an opportunity to voice his opinions in a dialogue that had been solely between Moscow and Beijing. To balance the influence of the United States, which has supported Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin is keen on maintaining a close relationship with Xi. In a Facebook statement, Zelensky expressed his confidence that the call and the appointment of Ukraine's ambassador to China would greatly enhance the growth of bilateral relations between the two countries. The website's official statement deemed the discussion productive and a promising step towards achieving a fair and enduring peace for Ukraine. Zelensky stressed the importance of reclaiming all Ukrainian land and asserted that territorial concessions were unacceptable for peace. In light of reports suggesting Chinese involvement in arming Russia for the conflict, Zelensky implored nations to abstain from supporting either party, as even partial assistance would fuel Russia's aggression and rejection of peace. Meanwhile, China has publicly stated its refusal to supply arms to either side in the ongoing conflict. Beijing's foreign ministry declared that its priority was to assist in achieving peaceful negotiations. In line with this, a former ambassador to Russia has been appointed as an envoy to Ukraine to facilitate political reconciliation. The tone of the statement was optimistic, recognizing Kiev's unwavering stance against territorial division caused by Russia's annexation. The statement also emphasized the importance of Beijing's long-standing relationship with Ukraine. The political ties between China and Ukraine are built on the principle of mutual respect for one another's sovereignty and territorial integrity. This is a fundamental aspect of their relationship, according to a statement. China has expressed a clear and unwavering commitment to developing relations with Ukraine, which will remain unchanged regardless of the global context. The two nations will work together to advance mutually beneficial cooperation. The chances of achieving peace were met with doubt by analysts. According to Kimberly Martin, a political science professor at Barnard-Columbia University in New York, China's recent call helps to balance their conversations with Russia, while also acknowledging the significance of Ukraine. In an interview with the Associated Press, she stated that this call demonstrates China's recognition of Ukraine's leadership and highlights the country as an important entity. However, she continued, unless there are undisclosed details that suggest otherwise, it seems like a non-starter. The proposal appears to be pro-Russian, and I doubt it will have much significance in terms of ending the war. The Chinese statement refrained from explicitly demanding Russia's withdrawal from occupied territories or condemning its aggression. Instead, it characterized the situation as a crisis rather than a war, as per her observation. According to Elizabeth Wishnick, an expert from US think tank CNA and Columbia University's Weatherhead East Asian Institute, the Chinese statement on the call lacks any reference to the withdrawal of Russian troops. Wishnick believes that this omission makes the initiative appear unserious and unlikely to have much impact on the outcome of the war. Instead, the outcome is more likely to be determined by events on the battlefield. The Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson, Maria Zakharova, lauded China's approach in Moscow. She commended Beijing's willingness to pursue peaceful negotiations and criticized Kiev's refusal to consider any constructive initiatives that could facilitate a settlement. Xi's hearing of Ukraine's account of the illegal, unprovoked invasion was deemed a positive development by the White House. According to John Kirby, a spokesperson for the White House National Security Council, the decision is viewed positively. For weeks, discussions between the leaders were expected, following a 12-point proposal from China aimed at terminating hostilities. However, the proposal lacked definite proposals. When it comes to peace agreements, Russia and Ukraine remain at opposite ends. The Kremlin has put forth a proposal that Kiev grants recognition to Russia's annexation of the Crimean Peninsula, along with Ukrainian provinces Donetsk, Kherson, Luhansk, and Zaporizhzhia, which most countries have deemed as unlawful. Ukraine, on the other hand, has categorically dismissed these demands and refused to engage in any negotiations until Russian troops withdraw from all occupied regions. Last month, Zelensky revealed to the AP in an interview that he had not been in communication with Xi since the start of the war. In a friendly gesture, he extended an invitation to Xi to visit Ukraine. China has recently expressed interest in mediating the NATO conflict, reiterating its stance of neutrality despite previously obstructing UN attempts to denounce the Kremlin's aggression. President Xi's announcement reinforces China's desire to act as a mediator in the ongoing war. Zelensky's actions have brought Ukraine closer to NATO, and he has been successful in convincing alliance members to provide sophisticated weaponry to aid in defeating Russia. However, while Kiev receives defensive arms, Beijing takes a stance similar to that of the Kremlin, citing the West as the source of the conflict and accusing them of exacerbating tensions. In February, China called for a truce and diplomatic negotiations between Ukraine and Russia. While Zelensky expressed his appreciation for China's offer, he remained wary and insisted that any progress towards peace must be backed by concrete actions rather than mere rhetoric. Xi received a cordial reception from Putin at the Kremlin, which was interpreted as a strong signal to Western nations that their attempts at ostracizing Moscow over the Ukraine conflict have been ineffective. Zelensky reiterated his warnings about the risk of a new nuclear disaster in Ukraine during its ongoing conflict with Russia, coinciding with the 37th anniversary of the catastrophic Chernobyl incident on Wednesday. Drawing a comparison, Zelensky likened Moscow's brief takeover of the Chernobyl plant and its resulting radiation-exposed exclusion zone to the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. This alludes to the catastrophic Chernobyl disaster that occurred on April 26, 1986. In an English Telegram post, Zelensky stated that the previous year the occupier not only took control of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, but also posed a global threat.